Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Mail. So for today, I'm going to go over a pretty entertaining yet quick email that was sent from a subscriber. That's from a guy, he's 60 years old, and he shares his story about all the crazy dating adventures he had when he was in his 20s in the early to mid 1980s. And how one of the gals he was definitely involved with and obviously really liked, abandoned him out of nowhere. And at the time, obviously, that bothered him. But he gets to have the last laugh as decades later he discovers and learns about her that she'd been married 7 different times. 7 times. And eventually got into doing spicy work to make money. So he dodged a big one. And you're also going to see that after her, he met the gal that became his wife, and he's had a great marriage for 30-some years, and he's very happy. And that'll be a pretty good one to go over here, guys, to show you that, like many of you guys that do dating relationships and have had bad ones and things have turned out badly, a lot of times you can go through a lot of crap, and eventually you can find a good one once you've learned a lot of things and bettered yourself, and eventually knew what to look for and all that. And so that can give you a nice, satisfying end that you can eventually find a decent one when you become more educated, a stronger guy, and all these things. And also, how a lot of times I'm sure you guys have been dumped or broken up with or cheated on by some gal, and it really messed you up for a while. But understand that down the road, you're going to usually find out that her life went to complete dog crap, and you really dodged a big one, and you'll find that out down the road. So if you're right now licking your wounds and hurting because some girl cheated on you or broke up with you, whatever, and you know she's a piece of garbage, but you have attachment issues to her, understand that life will pay her back, and you will have the last laugh if you handle things right. So he starts off, says, hello SSM. Thank you for everything you're doing with helping the young men of our age. I want to share my story. I'm a 60-year-old retired man, happily married for 30 plus years. But even in the 80s, all that you preach now was so true. Listen to your gut, gentlemen. See, 40-some years ago, what was going on, what he experienced is the same as today. Yes, today he's even crazier with social media and dating apps and how gals can get attention 24/7 from dudes all around the world. But still, in the 80s, they behaved the same way. I was a blue-pilled simp to start and only began seriously dating in college. With my first girlfriend, I did everything wrong. I did everything to please her, and she dumped me unceremoniously after 3 weeks. That's what happens when a guy does everything to please a girl and kisses her butt and puts her on the pedestal and is that yes guy. But you know what? You had to learn. You had to experience that humiliation and pain, if you will, to learn a few things. You know, you didn't have YouTube back then. Hell, you probably didn't even have a computer then. And even then, you're not going to have... You probably had your... What the hell was it? Was the Apple II? Maybe you got yourself a Macintosh or one of the early IBMs with some DOS. You know, and you watch, and if you learn from shows on TV, and TV's all BS. And if you didn't have any guy telling you reality, you know, you had to learn. It hurt, so began the sprinkling of the RP on my pointy head. Girlfriend number 2, a very hot blonde. I broke it off with her when it became apparent that we're worlds apart politically, and she was a budding feminist. Absolutely avoided that train wreck. Well, there you go. You learned already you were on your path because you broke up with a good-looking blonde. And probably she was probably debating politics with you all the time. I can imagine in the 80s. Like, nope, goodbye. Girlfriend number 3 was a redhead. Things progressed too fast, and I realized I couldn't trust her to keep her pants on when I was away. She was also the one that tried to baby trap me, and I had been trusting her to be on the pill. Smack! You never, ever believe a gal's on the pill, guys. You always wear protection. You always provide your protection, wear your protection, and dispose of your protection. Yes, it feels way better without the protection, and you want to believe she's on the pill so you can get that extra special feeling. But that extra special feeling could lead to you for 18 years paying for some kid, well, your kid, if it is your kid, and dealing with her crazy ass. Protection, guys. Nature bestowed a gift when the issue became a non-issue naturally. To this day, I don't know if she was telling me the truth or not, but then she had a problem with telling the whole truth thing. Girlfriend number 4. I met at my best friend's wedding in May of 1986. My best friend was having a shotgun wedding, and he married one of my friends, Hannah. Hannah's cousin was Michelle. Michelle was 8 or a 9, but had 2 red flags that did not register with me at the time. First, she was a smoker, and I was not. And second, she was a single MOM. Guys, if you don't smoke, and a gal that you're interested in, or a girl, you find out a girl that you're seeing, well, you'll know pretty instantly, smokes, don't waste your time. Okay? Seriously. Fortunately, I'm noticing more and more as time goes on, less and less people smoke. They may vape, and that's a whole other thing, but still. And the same thing goes if she smokes weed or any of that type of stuff that you're not into, or a heavy drinker. Don't waste your time. And as for the single MOMs, you know why you don't get involved with them. Still, we hit it off and dated for the summer. Yeah, you hit it off because she was a 9 or 10 or 8 or 9 in the looks department, and that was what you were focused on. Let's be honest here. She was about 2 hours away, and I was working a lot, so I was kind of a semi-long distance relationship. Smack! Bad idea. Not to mention the fact that she's a single MOM, an 8 or a 9, in her prime. Nope. This was well before cell phones or texting. In July, I suddenly could not reach her. She would not pick up her landline, and it was disconnected the week later. What the hell? No one knew where she was. I contacted her cousin Hannah, and she mentioned that she was okay, but not at home, and her family was cryptically quiet about her disappearance. No one knew where she was other than she was okay. You're her boyfriend, and I forget how long you've been with her, but you think your friend Hannah, your so-called friend, this girl, would give you a little more information about what's going on. So you basically were abandoned. Life went on. I was friends with another drop-dead gorgeous redhead Kim at work, but she was a genuine piece of crap that kept stringing her... She was with a genuine piece of crap that kept stringing her along for 2 years in high school, and now her last year in college. I had 1 quarter left of college to complete my degree. In 6 months, I had to report to my officer's basic course at Fort McClellan, Alabama, as I was a reserve officer in the Army. Well, her piece of crap broke up with her again, and she had finally written him off for good. We started dating in September. Neither of us wanted to get too serious, as I was leaving soon for about 3 months. Don't you do it. Don't you dare be deployed and now have a girlfriend. But then again, at least you're not married. We had known each other for 6 years, and strangely, she had always disapproved of my girlfriends. Yeah, because she really liked you, that's why. Yes, I was that dumb not to have figured it out. We've all been that dumb. Things got very serious for us quickly, and after I left for my officer's course, she came down to visit me for a long weekend. Things were going great for us. I was staying at the bachelor's officer's barracks, and none of the rooms had its own phone. We had a payphone on the bottom floor in the lounge bay, and if it rang, whoever was near would pick it up and find out who it was for. And run down to the room and get who the call was for. At that time, long-distance calling was 17 cents per minute. What a different era. I remember my very first serious girlfriend after I graduated high school, 1996 in the summertime. We were together, had a great time. She went off to college, and I stayed local, and we're going to do the long-distance thing. And no cell phones, and you called the payphone in the hallway, and somebody picked it up. If you're lucky, she got the message. Let's just say it didn't work out. And I learned a very valuable lesson at 18 years old. I had my heart broken, but I learned. That was one of the many things leading me on the RP journey. And I certainly learned about the long-distance relationship thing, amongst many other things. So one Sunday morning, a fellow officer says that I have a call in the bay. I ran down and picked it up, and it's Michelle. She was going through rehab for alcoholism, thus the disappearing act, and wanted to pick up where things left off. You didn't mention that part, man. So you met her, and you were completely so mesmerized by her looks that she was an 8 or 9 in the looks department, single MOM, smoked, and obviously had enough problems with alcohol that she had to go to rehab. Well, it's very nice she went to rehab to get herself better. That's fine. But not your problem. And interesting, now she's back. She didn't say a word to you, but now she's back, looking for that nice guy to support her and her kid. That's what was going on. It says, now SSM, both Kim and Michelle were solid 8s. I felt guilty, and Kim and I had only been together for about 7 months. But my gut was screaming at me to move on. There were demons here that were hidden but real. I trusted my gut this time, so I mentioned that I was already seeing someone and wished her the best. Good. Thank God. You're with a gal that really likes you, you've known for 6 years, who obviously really liked you since she was disapproving of all the girls you were with, and she's good looking and all that. Good for you. A lot of guys would have taken back the hot single MOM because, she was probably doing a lot for you in the bedroom at that time. I never saw or heard from Michelle again. Kim and I married a year later, and we've been happily married for 38 years. There you go. After all these different gals that were train wrecks or broke your heart or abandoned you, you met this gal. Interestingly, it was the girl you've known for 6 years, who's liked you all along, guaranteed. And that's great. Now, I would have gotten married when you were in the military, so smack there. But fortunately, I'm going to be positive and say that everything was good, no bullshit, anything like that, and you've had a great life with her. Wonderful. He says here, some 20 years later, I ran to Hannah and asked whatever happened to Michelle. This is almost verbatim what she told me. Remember, Hannah was this girl he was friends with, and all of a sudden when Michelle disappeared, I don't know where she is. She says, thank God you broke it off with her. After you, she went on to get married and divorced 7 times, and was briefly married to a minister. That fool probably thought he could save her soul. Even he couldn't get her off the bottle. Her family has all but disowned her, and they have proof that she's making a living selling POR and pictures of herself on the internet. He says, I could have been Michelle's infamous husband number 2 of 7. Thanks again for all your work, SSM. You keep our younger brethren from having to repeat the mistakes of their brothers. Always trust your gut. Great story, man. So, okay, 20 years after that. So it sounds like when you were in your 40s, you ran into Hannah, and Michelle, at that point in her 40s, had been married and divorced 7 times, and was doing the PORN to make a buck. Yeah, you dodged a big one. You would have been one of the many divorces there. So, good job for you guys. And this goes to show, if your relationship, guys, you're going to date, you're going to meet gals, they're not going to work out, but at least you learn something every time of what to do, what not to do, and you develop strength and boundaries and learn to check gals and stuff like that. Because I'm willing to bet you, the woman he married now, it may not have worked out as well if he hadn't gone through all the other ones and learned the lessons that he did. Because the first girlfriend he treated like he kissed her butt and all that and was too nice. And I'm willing to bet you if he behaved that way when the woman became his wife, it probably would have turned her off and it wouldn't have worked out. So he went through that and had to learn. And of course, the gal that he obviously was very smitten with, let's be honest here, who smoked and was a drunk and single MOM, something about that girl, of her looks, roped him in. And it's lucky for him that she took off without a trace and abandoned him and all that, and he learned. Because imagine what his life would have been like if he was involved with her. He could have had a kid with her or kids and would have been divorced and dealing with her his whole life. So remember, guys, those ones that may kick you to the curb, cheat on you, abandon you, break your heart and all that, you move on, you learn from that experience. Down the road, you may be having the last life, even if it's 20 years later, finding out where her life went and where your life isn't so good. So it's a good story here, a good lesson. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Give this guy a shout out for having a good life and learning and sharing his experiences. And guys, if you got a good story you'd like to share with me, definitely email to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it. I will. Please, please, please write it out well so I can read it. A lot of times guys write so badly it's like reading fucking Sanskrit, and I can't read Sanskrit. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.